Hey y'all, we have finally made it. Today, May 9th, 2020, is the official 1 year anniversary of An Album a Day. This is by far something I didn't think would come so quickly, and we've got a lot of milestones as well as a very interactive experience. I have live streamed this episode on May 9th, since this is Monday when you're listening to it, with the most supportive people in the world, my McGualas. So let's get into it after the jump.
You're tuned into An Album a Day. Show, start.
All right, this is going to be a little haphazard. I'm kind of scrolling through a live stream to kind of find the comments from people. So there's no real direction for this special episode. Nonetheless, I want to let you know some of the statistical things that are going on. So the show turned a year old today. And at the time of this recording, we have 5,180 See, that's why I don't do stuff. 5,184 total plays. Now, let me clarify what a total play is. A total play is the combined total numbers of times the podcast episodes have been streamed or downloaded across all listening platforms. And what I'm looking at right now might not include current things because, this will be Monday. But that's the most roundabout. On the Anchor.fm app, the app that hosts my show, I have 28 usual listeners. And today I have $2.44 earned. But within a whole year's time, the total payout is $37.68. Now, that might not mean a lot to a lot of you, but to me, that's pretty awesome because there are plenty of podcasts and not everybody gets a payout. So I'm really, really excited about that. That's also the other reason why it's so important that we have the Patreon patrons. Yes, $37.68 have come from this show on its own, and that's dope. But at this point in time, a year into the show, we've got a lot of patrons now. We have a lot of student body and scholars, and they, through their contributions, help maintain the video version of the show that comes out on the Great Moments YouTube channel. And that pays for the editing of that and how that's formatted, which is awesome. It pays for the advertising when ads pop up on Facebook and Instagram for the show. And they also contribute their monies towards the Giving McGualas, my Kiva.org organization. So all of it pays for it. The only thing that I pocket is what comes from the earnings when people listen to it. Anything that comes from Patreon patrons, I don't spend it. It doesn't come to me at all. It goes right back into investing in the show and right back to giving to other small businesses. It's consistent, it's honest, it's traceable, and it makes me feel good. I do this because I love doing it, and I like being able to show the accountability of what I'm doing. So at this time, we have 17 patrons. And the show garnishes. The show brings in $89 a month from them, and that $89 strictly goes into philanthropy and marketing. It's so dope. I did not think we'd get to any feasible goal because, again, #apocalypse. It's been hard to ask anything of people when it comes to their money when a lot of us don't have consistent work anymore. So I'm very grateful. We are still working towards this goal that 25 patrons, once I reach 25 patrons, that we are going to hire an editor to assist with releasing 2 videos per week on the YouTube channel instead of the daily videos that are a few days behind a recording. So we're almost there. 17 is far closer to 25 than when I had 1. And just for $1 a month, you are able to become a member of the student body. If you want to be a scholar, that's a little bit more. We're also reassessing the tiers in terms of not changing what the tier amounts are, but changing what the perks are. Because a lot of the perks I wasn't able to consistently fulfill, and that's just jerky. I'm taking your money and you're not getting what you want from it. I mean, yeah, you getting a podcast, but that's not, I don't understand. So we're working on that. And now that I'm in an individual space again, we'll be able to progress a little bit more on that, getting some cool stuff done. One of the things that I announced on Patreon was that this was before the apocalypse. This month, May, I was supposed to be in a physical recording studio. So twice a month, I was going to have an actual for real live stream. Like if you lived in Metro Houston or you happen to be in Houston for the weekend, you could come on a Sunday and be able to be a part of the show, physically see it live stream, but also see you, the listeners, as guests. Clearly that didn't happen. So, that was a disappointment that I had to kind of process on my own, because it was no one else that could do anything about it. But a company that could do something about it is Podbean. Now, I am an Anchor.fm girl. I am. But when I started podcasting in 2013, did you know I've been doing it that long? When I started podcasts in 2013, I started on Podbean. So I do have some deep respect for them. And in turn, because you can access an album a day on Podbean, someone from their company contacted me and said, hey, your show is doing well. We see the numbers. It's really exciting. How about you do a live call in and live stream through us? What? Happy birthday. I named an album a day. So now we're in a space where we are discussing how that will work, so that you all once a month can kick it without having to sign up for anything. I don't want to make anything extra that you have to sign up for, but you'll be able to access that live stream and be able to call in, ask questions, and just really be a part of the show, because the show it's fun for me. It really is. But it's about us enjoying music and enjoying this experience together. So I'm so excited about it. I don't have a lot of up-to-date information now, but I was saving it for this podcast. So whoop whoop for that. That's good. So I'm going to go ahead and give you all just a quick break, and then we'll get into looking at some of the questions that we have from the listeners right now. Want to hear music from the artists reviewed on this podcast? Then you have to check out the hashtag A3Day Highlights playlist on Spotify. You can enjoy songs mentioned from select episodes, as well as experience music from new and favorite artists. Start listening with a free Spotify account today. Okie dokie. So because there's really no direction to this, we're going to just grab some questions from the viewers. So we've got a lot of Megwalas and listeners of the show just in support of everything, and they submitted some questions, and I really don't know what they all are, but I'm excited to answer them. So one question we have, an album that was technically a 5 for you, but you actually didn't like. So I had to go into the spreadsheet for the show and find an album that was definitely good, but just wasn't my jam. I'm confident it's Something in 4 Men. I had a hard time with them. I do believe one that was genuinely, Ooh, he did. Okay, I was gonna say something about Jay Park, but Jay Park hasn't had his album a day yet. Jay Park was not only a Great Moments in Production and Delivery, which was a year overdue. He was the first time I ever did GMPD on a podcast episode. Twice Will Be Next. Because we just didn't have the capability to do an original episode, and episodes of that, I broadcast them on YouTube. So I would have to say a 5 that grated on my nerves. I know for a fact it was Something for Men. And I'm going to say it was the Third Generation. It was their special album. I did the episode for that, and it was in episode 12, along with First Kiss. The Third Generation special episode, I put a 5. It's a studio album and it was released in 2010, but I gave it like a 4.5 personally because something was off about this. Like, I don't, even to this day, I don't know what it is. There were not a lot of misses in their discography whatsoever. They are hellaciously proven, but it just didn't work for me. It just did not. So yeah, that would have to be one that I got to give it its props, but hard pass as well. Serious hard pass. 4 Man wore me out. Um, we have another question. Who is the K-pop music producer that you think makes really good tracks and you can appreciate what they put into it? Okay, I like Gray. I love Gray quite a bit. I think Gray is very interesting. The DPR camp, Christian, he's really, really good. Um, I'm really, 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 really a Gray fan. I've burned out on hearing Teddy Park from One Time, rightfully so. Um, I'm losing my train of thought right now about the producer for one of these songs. Give me just a moment. I'm going to look up a particular song so that I can tell you a particular producer's name. I'm impressed with what Suga is accomplishing when he works with other artists. That's very exciting to me. We're almost there, y'all. Almost there. Doc Skim, who I have legendarily talked about as the producer of Live for BTS Jimin. Um, he composed the crap out of that. He did not write the lyrics exclusively. He did that with Jimin, P Dog, and Hitman Bang. Sumin helped on that as well, but in terms of the music, that was all Dox Kim. And if you follow him on Instagram, just some of the piano interludes that he does in his spare time is just it's drool worthy. So yeah, it's really good. Another question. Let's see. Of the albums you've listened to thus far, if you can remember them all, which is technically the most impressive? Ooh, technically the most impressive. Technically the most impressive. We're thinking about sonics, we're thinking about depth of sound, warmth and everything. Wow. I hmm. Wow, that's a good question. That's an insane good question. Uh it would seem as such that this would come from a space of favoritism because this is a group that everybody is aware that I appeal a lot to. But 21's last album, Crush of 2014, was one of the most insanely good sounding albums. Never mind them. Take the vocals out. Take the vocals out. It was a solid pop album that had intermingled a lot of sultry production and whatnot to reflect where the women were in their life at that time. Um, there are other good albums. There definitely are, but that one is a standout for me. It sounds way better than anything else in their discography, and it just I mean, it was just good. It was a good album. In their discography, they didn't have a lot of fives with me. I love them, but they didn't have a lot of 5 albums. That one is a 5. It's a definite 5. Um, I guess another one that would be pretty close in terms of blowing my socks off. We're gonna go back to 2 p.m. Let me just pull up the album so I can tell y'all specifically because one of them, and I can't even act like I don't know which one it is because I can hear the audio in my brain of when I was ranting about it. 2 p.m. Their album, uh, their album, Gentleman's Game. Now they had grown. First and foremost, 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. had a whole bunch of fives. Grown, I remember saying in the audio, it's grown, it's real, real grown. And then we got to Gentleman's Game. And I'm like, look, if I said the album Grown was grown, on Gentleman's Game, they was good grown. They was all the G's of Gentlemen. That's another phenomenal sounding album. Taking the audio away, their vocals, just if you let it play as such on its own, it tells a story on its own. So yeah, that album Gentleman's Game is definitely one that I can put on the list. That's a good question. All right. Let's see. There's some more questions coming up. I'm gonna scroll a little bit. All right. Question. An album you don't like but can't use science or logic to help you find out why you still listen to it. Okay. An album that kind of grates on my nerves, yet I continue to show up. And I really don't care what anyone says when I say it. Special edition version of Big Bang's Still Alive, 2012. There are songs on the album that I like, but as a whole, like I think I think what makes it matter so much to me is, for one, that was the group that was my entrance to K-pop. My interest to Korean entertainment was Lee Min Ho, and then by way of him, I ended up stumbling into Iris, and then I saw T.O.P. and was like, Jesus, Joseph, and Mary, and all of his half siblings. Who is that man with them eyebrows? And then I saw him on Bad Boy, which is on that album, and was like, I need to find more of this. Whatever this may be, if it looks like him, I need to be a part of it. That man is so beautiful. It don't make no sense. My voice is shaking because he's fine. He's so fine. And I think that's what makes me cleave to it. But I hate Fantastic Baby. I learned the words to Blue because it was one of the first things that me and my sister learned together when we were still learning Korean. Obviously, I continued on with that, but that wasn't her desire. Um, but the album is okay, and I'm gonna get some heat for that when I get into the B's, because we're not that far. It's not too many number groups left in the season, and then we're hopping straight into the A's, and then onwards to the B's. So that's an album where there's no reason for me to just be like, ugh, but it's not as good as it seemed to me when I got into K-pop that year. It was a big deal to me then. It was fresh. It was different. Certainly different from what they were doing beforehand. Um, but I'm okay without it. I'm gonna get in trouble on that one. Oh my god. Next question: how long do you think some people review a newly released album after the album drops? If it's for us journalists, both active, semi-active, and retired, we listen possibly on the day it came out, maybe a few days thereafter, to just get a general assessment of it. And the chances of us rocking with a K-pop album from start to finish is not always high. We might find a song or two that we really like. Case in point, 4 Minute from their debut album, I'm still banging the mess out of Angele. That's my jam. But I'm okay without the whole album, even though it was a five. For those who are fans, you're going to gravitate towards the group or groups that you bias, and you'll get to a point where you listen to it and enjoy it, and it just becomes a part of the fabric of you being a fan. But in my case, with all of this, since I'm going album by album, there are groups who have dropped albums that I want to listen to, but I don't want to take away from the authentic build up to getting to it. Yeah, I could genuinely listen to, well, I did listen to God Seven's Die album. I had to, because those are my boys. Like, I had to. But in the process of that, I've been going back and listening to some other things from their history, not the full album through, just some of my old favorite songs, because yes, I could listen to things up to date as soon as they come out and give you a pre-recorded episode like I do anyway, but I usually record them the night or two nights beforehand, before you hear them at 8 a.m. Central Time on the weekdays. But I feel like 2020 Ashley is going to give 2020 opinions versus looking at the trajectory of how music has evolved and how the impact of that from groups that have come before them and albums that came before have impacted the sound. I think that's a little bit more authentic, a little bit more unique for the feedback that I provide. So yeah, it all depends. Fans are going to listen to things far more consecutively than those of us who are critics of what we're hearing. Another question. Your favorite album of all time. Okay, so we clarified that this is not referring to my favorite album, period. My favorite K pop album of all time. Uh, hmm. I believe. Wow, how do you answer that? Hmm. Ooh, wow. Okay. My favorite K-pop album of all time is 2012's One of a Kind by G Dragon. I can allow that to play from start to finish and just remember all the excitement of what I was feeling when I got into K-pop, how that album impacted me. Some of the production choices on it are just but noodles. That is definitely that's my favorite. It was such a good album. I enjoyed it more than I did Coup d'etat. I felt like that was the beginning of him making distance from G Dragon and preparing us for Kwan Jeong. One of a Kind is a good album. I have a limited edition box version of it. Once I start setting up my display and everything so that when I start making my videos again, I have my set, you'll be able to see it. It's a doggone good album for me. For me. Second to that, second to that, an album that it's more so their music in general than it is the particular album. But I will give this album credit. 2015's The Red, the first album by Red Velvet. I can barely get through that album. First and foremost, 2015 was the most phenomenal year for me as a K-pop fan in music. It was loud, it was bodacious and everything, and that album is so much fun, and the vocal arrangements on it are just they're everything, and it has my most favorite Red Velvet song on there, Dum Dum Dum. So uh, those two are those two are the big deals for me. But G Dragon would have to reign supreme for my most favorite. That's pretty cool. All right, we got more questions. It's getting good. I'm seeing some of the responses while I'm looking for the questions. Let's take a quick break and then get back into it. And we're back. And we're back. All right. I had to catch my breath and get a little bit of some breathing room going on. So we got a question. So one is, do you ever think you will explore the style and discography of prominent K-pop producers such as Teddy Park, Yoo Young Jin, JYP? Not that you don't have too much to do already. In some of the things that the artists do, I do talk briefly about the producers, but at some point we will have a special episode about some of the artistry of the producers in and of itself, as well as the actual labels. There are some consistencies with certain entertainment companies that also impacts the producers and songwriters who work there and things. So they deserve the shine just as much as the artists do. So that will eventually happen. Next question we have is, what is the album you think has the most diversity in sound and production? The most diversity in sound and production. Four Men's 1998. They definitely overwhelmed me with their emotions. Oh God, it was really hard for me to get through their discography, and it's not because they weren't good. They were incredible and still are. I'm just not a ballad fan. But 1998, which came out in 2014, it was their studio album, and it's great. Sometimes what we think of in terms of diversity is just a lot of difference in attempts, like such as when I produce, where you might have something that's EDM and then the next song is trap and then all of that. Yeah, that's diversity, but it's not always cohesive. This was an extremely cohesive album, an extremely solid album, and it was good. It was good. Another one that would appeal in terms of discussing diversity, 4 Minutes Left by 4 Minute came out in 2011. It's a 5 on my ranking, and it wasn't a hodgepodge of sounds. It really, really gave you a feeling of having a dance. Like you gotta commit to moving your body. So those are two that come to mind when I think of diverse sound. Definitely so. Let's see. Next question. What album that felt like it was made in the wrong time, but it would have been amazing in another time period? Mmm. An album that was made in the wrong time. Ooh, that's really good. Okay. An album that was made in the wrong time, but would be good in another. Wow. I think right now, I think right now, with the things that are going on with everyone trying to go further back to the 90s and things of that sort, 2015's The Anthem by One Punch. That's a real consistent old school album. They were extremely young when they made it. It's a five. And now with groups like NCT Dream and things of that sort going back to those type of production qualities and that kind of vibe, it would bop now. So even though it was 5 years ago, even though it was just 5 years ago, it would definitely sell and do extreme numbers at this point, which would give them a reason to be around longer. One Punch was just a drop in the skillet, just one quick flash and it was over. That's a good question. What is one song or song that you think would have done well on 106 in Park? A song that would have done well on 106 in Park. Throwback much? Um, we have not gotten to the album just yet. It is coming. 2015's Crazy, 4 minute. Literally, the transition from the song Crazy to the next track. I mean, I stank face, just like it would bop. It would bop. It would pull a lot of appeal and a lot of interest. We haven't gotten to that album yet. The next 4 minute album we'll be doing is Name is 4 minute, then 4 minute World, Crazy, and then their final one is Act Seven. That's another one. Somebody just mentioned that. The freestyle. Oh my gosh, that would go ham. That would go ham on 106 in Park. Boy, oh boy. All right. Let's see. Want to make sure I've not missed any questions before we wrap things up. This is so cool to be able to kind of answer the questions immediately instead of having to wait a little bit longer. One thing that we briefly mentioned that I said I was going to share is some of the songs that are a part of the soundtrack of my life. Some of the K-pop songs, I mean, because there is an actual playlist, a private playlist on Spotify of mine that's called Soundtrack of My Life. And there are some songs on there that I would like to tell you about after this quick drop. Hey y'all, Ashley here, better known as Multifacetedacg, and I want to thank you for checking out my podcast and rolling with the magic that's going on this show. If you happen to be listening to this on iTunes, could you please be a kind person and go right into the podcast and make sure to mark it and possibly leave a comment? Those things help with the exposure and the increased opportunities that come along with being a podcaster. It only takes a couple of seconds. I appreciate it. Bye, y'all. And we're back with the final question. It was asking what would be some of the songs in K-pop that would be a part of my life soundtrack. I actually do have a life soundtrack playlist on Spotify. And there are some songs on here that immediately come to mind. Things from JJ Project's album, number one. JJ Project Verse 2 album, to be specific. There is a song called Icarus. It's an absolutely wonderful song. Just talking about one's journey and not giving up, knowing that what you're aspiring to do inspires your loved ones and gives you purpose. That's a song. Neil Onur, Tomorrow Today, from JJ Project Verse 2. That song, as soon as it comes on, I can remember walking down a sidewalk along a castle in Germany and just dragging my hand across the wall. Growing up in Michigan, Canada was right next door. So even though I had international travel experience, Canada doesn't seem like it's far away when it's so close. It doesn't seem like some magical otherworldly place. It doesn't seem foreign. And being in Germany, finally visiting my sister after all the years that she had been living out there because she made the jump into international living before I did. Just being out there and just having that moment of realization of like, oh my God, I'm really doing what my life desire has always been. I've always wanted to see so many things. And I'm a person who, if something says wet paint, I'm the type to touch it because I need tangible proof of reality in some things, not all. And just to be able to put my hand on the wall and feel the texture of centuries old stone and whatnot underneath my hand while I was listening to that album, it just brings me back to that moment. I get teary eyed every time I hear it just because I can see how far I traveled in my journeys. And I had watched them perform that song just a couple of months beforehand, not even knowing what was around the corner for me. I had no idea. I watched them perform it at KCON 2017. And I was singing it and I was so proud of them and so excited. And that was in the summer. And then a matter of 5 weeks later, I was gone. And that was a part of one of the songs. So that's definitely on the list for me. Another one, another K-pop song that is a part of my life soundtrack, 21's I Am the Best, just because it allows me to boast my ego, boast and boost up myself. It's bombastic, it's fun, it's loud, it's overly confident, and when I'm not feeling like those things, that song can definitely make me feel that way. Another song that's on my life soundtrack would be Golden, or he used to be called G Soul. Golden's Byunmyeong, which means excuses. The boldness of it, the discomfort of knowing someone has feelings for you and they're not going to be reciprocated. Just the way it's composed, it's a very open song because Golden got vocals that are from heaven. And the fact of the matter is, he didn't need a lot for him to show out on that song. And I've been on both ends of that. I've been the person who knows somebody loves and cares about me, but I can't reciprocate it. And I've been the person who's aching for someone to love them, and the person is unable to deliver on that. So that's a part of my life soundtrack as well. Still going down that same vein, 21's Appa, It Hurts. That song was the first song I heard and did not know. I did not know Korean at all, but the video, which was released on Halloween the year it came out, the video and the emotion of what they were saying, even though I didn't understand, tied in completely with what I was experiencing at that moment while my marriage was ending. And Bohm sing the hell out of her part on that song. She really does. And it sticks with me just to realize how much distance I've made from all of that. Just a good amount of distance, honest to goodness. And then just some general faves, not necessarily a part of my life soundtrack because they don't send me somewhere. They don't give me something that resonates with life. These are things that just feel good or I enjoy. In Black Stay, uh, Hero by Monster X. That's my favorite Monster X song. Uh, Cherry Bomb, NCT 127, EXO's Monster, uh, Encore. Encore should be on my life soundtrack list from Epic High. Encore is the intro to their album Shoebox, which was the first album I owned by them. And it's something about hearing the intro to that song. I can remember receiving the album, the iTunes gift card to buy the album from one of my best friends. And when the album came on, I was sitting in a place here in Houston that it no longer exists, but it was the place where all my friends would gather, where we would all spend our time together. And I can remember the smells of the place, the sound of it, and just the genuine joy of a new album coming out. And I was able to get it from some legends. And Epic High's album as a whole, Shoebox, that was one of the albums I was listening to the first time I went to Korea in 2016, not knowing I was going to live there just a year later. So yeah, that song could probably be on there. And one that's definitely on the list that I don't even have like I've spoken about it a lot. Was it Anniversary or Congratulations? What song are we talking about? I don't think I said anything with Anniversary or Congratulations. So there's one of the comments kind of threw me off for a second. No, one of the albums that definitely a song that would definitely be on my life soundtrack is 17's Thanks, which I've spoken about many times on the YouTube channel, but I have not on this podcast, so I'll just be brief about it. It's a song that I associate with my love and appreciation for the experience that was blessed to me to live in Korea and be there. And the group 17 made the song in honor of their fans and in honor of their loved ones, just thanking them for their support and being there on the journey. But for me, that's my love song to that country. And it's very rare that I can talk about it without just being a puddle of emotion. There's a multitude of songs I can hear the first couple of notes of and just tear up. That's one of the few where I can just generally talk about it and I can just feel my heart just ready to jump out of my chest. It is such a precious song to me in terms of my life. So those are the questions that the listeners had for me and the things that I wanted to share with you all on this extra long special episode. I cannot thank you all enough for rocking with this show for a year. That's incredible. A lot of shows don't even make it that long. And if they do, they don't always necessarily have a lot of people listening. So I'm very grateful. I appreciate you all, and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye, y'all.
Your favorite foreign Korean music historian exploring all the industry from A to Z.
There's sponsored ads and social media hashtags, but this show is truly supported by the efforts of my Migualas, the most amazing fan base a little entertainer could ever have. Special shout out to my Patreon patrons, the student body, and the scholars who keep my vision of becoming your favorite Korean music historian exploring all the industry from A to Z a real thing. If you're interested in supporting the growth of this podcast and supporting content, please visit patreon.com/multifacetedacg. And for as little as $1 a month, you can get in on the magic too. Interested in continuing your support at the free $99 price? I love you for it. You can still engage with the show when you retweet, repost, and share the show and use hashtag A3, and the word DAY. You can also tag MULTIFACETEDACG to get my attention. And if you're listening to this podcast on a platform other than Anchor.fm, please leave a few stars or a review to keep things growing in the right direction.